What's up? What's up? What's up? Hello out there in podcast land. It's Eddie, your host for EAC Speaks, where we're always epic, always empowering, preventing, innovating, and connecting. And I'm super excited to be bringing you this edition of EAC Speaks because we have an awesome new program that I am more than thrilled to be letting you all know about. And I have an awesome guest today. So everybody give a virtual round of applause to Bobby Pierce. Woo! Hello,
Thank you.
Bobby.
Hey, Eddie, how are you?
I'm awesome. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so maybe you can tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Bobby Pierce. I am the Community Engagement Coordinator for EAC. I have been with EAC for a little bit over a year now. It's an organization just aligned with everything I hold dear to my heart, which is providing services for people living with HIV, as well as trying to educate the community regarding around STIs.
Awesome. And tell us what part of the great state you're in.
I'm actually in Texarkana, Arkansas.
All right, let's give it up for what is that? South what?
That's the southwest region of Arkansas.
Southwest. You
We're
see, I
we're kind of
stopped.
we're kind of unique here. We're on the border of Texas and Arkansas, so there's a Texarkana, Arkansas, and a Texarkana, Texas. They call it the Twin Cities, and so it's the best of both worlds, they say.
Awesome. I love it. And that's how we actually like to do ESCs. We get the best of both worlds. We have people who come on talk as providers, people who come on as talking as living with HIV. So today's episode is going to be specifically for those folks living with HIV. We're going to talk about an awesome program called Epic Plus. So Bobby, can you tell us a little bit about the program?
So Epic Plus is a leadership training program that we use to train people living with HIV how to mentor others. We go into advocacy, how to like when people who become first diagnosed, how we can partner with them to be peers and walk them through their journey. We teach people how to tell their story and get that information out to individuals to kind of change the narrative of how people feel about HIV.
Oh, that is awesome. So tell me, what was the inspiration behind Epic Plus?
So the inspiration behind Epic Plus, um, our organization saw that there was some unmet needs out there for people living with HIV. That there was no resources, limited resources available to individuals, and so to provide those resources, Epic Plus came about to be able to get people to the point, or people living with HIV, to the point of being able to find their voice, to be able to be there, represent themselves. Years ago, like 30 years ago, they had the Denver principles that kind of paved the way to what we're trying to get people back to without the act up type of atmosphere, but getting people to the point where you got to be involved in your care. And so that's kind of how the Epic Plus leadership training came about.
That's awesome. Helping people find their voice and advocating for themselves and for other folks. That's awesome. So this wasn't the first go round. How long has the program actually been around?
So the program has been around since 2020. We did the first training of this course back a year ago, about a year ago now.
Okay. And so how long is the training for folks? How long do they participate?
The typical training runs probably about 3 to 6 months, depending on what module we decide to use for that particular training, but roughly around about 6 months.
Okay. And tell me, what are the requirements for folks to get involved?
The requirements primarily is just a person living with HIV, someone who wants to find their voice, someone who wants to advocate for others. That's the primary requirement there, and have that dedication to be able to complete the entire training. And then once they complete their training, be able to use that training out in the public.
That's awesome. So tell me, how many folks have gone through the training so far?
So far, there have been 14 individuals that's gone through the training so far.
Oh, that's awesome. That
Yeah,
is some good work to have people out here, especially in Arkansas, where there's a lot of stigma, right? So,
right.
what are some of the things that you think this program would do to help bust that stigma?
I'm a firm believer that education is the best tool to be able to combat anything, and that goes with stigma as well. You know, this training teach people other people where they are as well. Sometimes you can't go in and try to convince someone and educate them, and just
Mhm.
educate them by providing them the information that will get people to the point where they have a better understanding of where you're coming from. And once they have that understanding and realize that you're not trying to convince them, you're just trying to educate them, then it kind of go across a little bit easier. And by doing that, that will at some point reduce the stigma around HIV and how people feel about HIV.
Absolutely. Now, some of the things that we've heard from folks on the website is people have said that they've learned that the feelings that they were feeling because others have felt that way. They've also said some amazing things, like the main benefits for me were the friendships and colleagues that I've developed along the way to learn that my struggles were normal. So, what do you think has been your impact with Epic Plus?
I think our impact, and I know we're going back to finding that voice. It is getting people to the point where they are finding their own voice. Everybody's story is different, but there are similarities. And that main similarity is that people are living with HIV. Your journey, that person's journey may be a little bit different, but the circumstances around that journey is the same. And so I think allowing people to be in a space where they can relate to other individuals that on that same journey that they're on has helped people to be able to find that particular voice that they needed, to be able to be out and say, okay, I'm not alone in this. I'm not the only one. Yeah, their story's a little bit different than mine, but hey, we're in the same game here. We're going in the same direction. And so allowing people that space to be able to do that and explore that and listen to others. We had people in the group that maybe they didn't speak or they didn't say anything as actively as others. But as the time goes on, they got comfortable and realized, okay, this is a safe space. I'm able to be me, and I can be me here fully, and everyone here is going to accept me. And I think allowing people to do that gives them the courage to move forward and be able to go out into the world and be themselves. Maybe they may not be that top running advocate person, but they have that confidence in knowing in themselves. And I think that's what people are finding out as they go through the training.
Yes, and you touched on my next question of the importance of storytelling. And I think when we're talking about stories, like you said, education is the best form to bust that stigma. But by having people tell their stories and share with other people across, not only just in Arkansas, but across the world, because this type of work can lead to advocacy on a larger scale. So I think being able to tell your story, having that safe space of knowing when you do tell your story, you can have people there to back you if you do go public. And not saying that you have, like you said, have to be the advocate out there on the billboards or the advocate that's on a commercial. You can absolutely be an advocate for yourself, an advocate behind closed doors, an advocate online. There are so many different ways to be involved. And so I absolutely love that.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, your storytelling is definitely the key, and getting people to the point where they tell their story. Vocalizing things really is therapeutic for people. They're in a space where they can actually say it, where they may have been at home and felt like they couldn't say anything to anybody, or with friends they feel like they can't say anything to anybody. But giving them that ability to have that voice first gives them that therapy to be able to say it out loud and hear it from themselves, and then have people that receive it and accept it and understand it. That just it's just volumes for people. And like you said,
Mhm.
they don't have to be that frontline billboard type of advocate. They can be an advocate for themselves. they can be an advocate for a friend that they know that may be feeling the same thing that they're feeling. It's just so many different aspects that a person go down. So you're absolutely correct about that.
Yeah. So tell me, what are some of the ways that you've seen folks get involved after the training?
So after the training, we have seen individuals who, fortunately for us, we have individuals that are now employed by EAC that have taken active role in becoming community health workers and going out into the community and promoting testing and providing resources for people, doing transportation for people. We've we've seen people that seek out other training to be able to further their ability to advocate past our training. So those are just a few of the ways that things that we've seen people have done since they had the training. And then, the most important part is that we just seen people that have the confidence in themselves. There's been individuals that have went and told their family that they may haven't spoken to their family about it, or families they haven't spoken to in years, and they able to discuss, where they are and their feelings and how they went through the process and how their relationship was impacted. And that's what we've seen from a few people that have training.
I absolutely love that, Bobby. You mentioned the Denver principles earlier, and what you all are doing is MIPA, the meaningful involvement of people living with HIV and AIDS. It's in action. You're hiring the people from the community, and not just in a tokenizing way, but in an impactful way. So applause to you all. Applause to us at EAC, not just you all, it's us.
Definitely, nothing. That motto, nothing without us, nothing for us without us.
I
So we
love
definitely need
that.
that involvement.
So, how do you promote Epic Plus?
So we basically start out with just word of mouth. Kind of got out and basically told people this is what we are. So we partnered with our care. We partnered with here in Texarkana with Special Health Resources, and kind of let people know exactly where we are and just what we're doing. And it just totally just been word of mouth. Now that we have got it out there, you can find it on our website. We have did a few social media things on Facebook, Instagram. Everywhere we can possibly get the word out is what we try to do.
Yes, that's great because this program, I'm sure, has saved lives and will continue to save lives.
Definitely.
So, let's talk about how can folks get involved without necessarily disclosing their status.
Well, the way people can get involved without disclosing their status is basically just going to the website and signing up for the training. You know, the train like we said earlier, the training is not necessarily designed. Well, not necessarily designed for a person to be an advocate out in the public. It's just an advocate for themselves. We make sure that we have that Vegas rule when it comes to the training. What happens here, what people discuss about themselves, stays in that particular training. And so a person can definitely feel confident that if they're coming to our training, we're going to create that space that if they don't want to disclose their status outside of that training, that's their decision. They can definitely do that. We're not going to push people out to the forefront and say, this is what you have to do. We need you to do this type of advocacy within this time frame. No, you decide on where you take that training. Our hope is that, as we mentioned earlier, that you just find your voice and be able to represent yourself. If you get to and hopefully at some point they will get to where they want to provide a voice for others as well.
Mhm. I love that you can find that safe space for folks and not have to worry about anyone else because I just like we mentioned earlier, people say that we have the same feelings, same stories, and I'm sure there will be others who may not also want to be the forefront advocate. So by respecting each other's privacy, being that support for each other, I think that's exactly what we build in a community of people. So when folks are looking for a community, this is the type of space that you can actually go and find that space.
I completely
Now,
agree.
we're going to go on the opposite side of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we talk about stigma, where are some of the places that you find folks that actually frequently experience stigma? What are some of the most stigmatic places?
Um, Unfortunately, the most stigmatic places sometimes is within. You know, there's so much internal stigma that people feel that has impacted people. So first and foremost, that's where we see that at, and the training helps people to get out of that portion. When you're out in the world, you know, you find that in everywhere from employment, from friends, from families, from laws, with those
Mhm.
criminalization laws. It's the gamut. Is being in the Bible Belt. Unfortunately, we are definitely impacted even more so than other areas because the people want the completely um, uh, accept who we are and what we're going through. Doesn't see HIV just like any other element, and so getting to that point where people do see it that way is where we're trying to do. It's just like we want it to be considered just like if someone has diabetes. It's no different. There's medication they have to take. Same thing with HIV, and so you find it everywhere. When you go see in some doctor offices, you still have some doctors in this day and time, over all these years later, 30 years later, and people still having problems talking about HIV to their primary care physician, and that just no makes it make any sense.
Mhm. We go help and treatment and all these other things and get stigmatized. So,
Correct.
yeah,
Correct.
that is ridiculous. So, outside of education, how do we get people from stigmatic to well informed?
What the whole point of this particular training is just get people to tell their story and get their voice out there. So the more people tell their story, the more they get out there and talk about their experience, and that people see that they're no different than anyone else. That is going to be the biggest way to break down that barrier on besides education, is seeing people that everyday life. I get up, I put my clothes on the same way you do, and just move forward. By doing that, and more people telling their story and getting that information out about their story and who they are, that they're the same person, just next door to you, down the street from you, across the world from you, wherever that is, they're the same individual.
Mhm. And I think that that resonates with me because even though I worked in the field for a few years before I converted, I really had that internalized stigma, and it was kind of like, no, people who are out here advocating, who are living with HIV, how can I absolutely not encourage, how can I encourage them and not encourage my damn self? And so it was a big piece of hearing people's stories. So that's why I am such a lover of Epic Plus, because I had folks around me who were living with HIV, but in Arkansas, you don't always meet advocates every day. It's not something that is just an everyday routine for folks. And so, for people living with HIV that aren't involved in advocacy, they don't hear the stories as much as we do when we're on the other side. So, I love EAC Speaks. I love Epic Plus. I just love everything that we're doing because it's bringing a real life experience to something that folks are so afraid of. Three little letters.
You're correct about that, Eddie, and being able to allow people to do that is what keeps me with at AAC. Just those fine those primary values definitely keep me there. With that every person with HIV deserve to live a fulfilled and purpose filled life, and that's what this training does. That's what this training allows people to do, and so it is. I have seen it in my time here how impactful it is, and just grateful that the organization came about because resources were lacking, and having this resource in Arkansas definitely is paving the way. I think we're definitely on to something, and I just can just see in the horizon that there'll be just so many things coming from what we have created.
That's amazing. And so, my next question is for any organizations that may be listening, anybody who may be a leader at an organization or any type of community advisory board or any type of legal, like a legislator or anything. Why is it important that we involve people living with HIV in our advisory groups, on our staffs, on our boards, all aspects of our world? Why is it important that we involve people living with HIV?
Is important because in order to make decisions regarding someone, you have to have someone with that experience. Lived experience definitely gives you that extra layer of care. In order to have patient centered care, you have to include the patient. You can't make decisions without individuals that have walked that journey, who've gone through those different cycles or periods in their lives. Having that valued information from a valued source is priceless. It's priceless. So it's important to have people with experience or meaningful involvement with people living with HIV in all aspects, from the boards, from advisory council. Me myself, I'm the chairman of the board of directors of FQAC in Texas, Northeast Texas, and so it's important that voice is represented, just like everyone is at the table. So people living with HIV have to have a seat at the table when decisions are made about the course of their lives, especially when it comes to
Hmm. That's great. I see. I told you we're gonna get some nuggets in here, Bobby. So tell our listeners, how can people actually contribute to the program or to any of the other efforts going on?
well, we're open to everything from if sometimes people want to be silent partners, and silent partners, maybe they want to provide a donation to the organization so we can continue doing these type of training or offer different things to people in the training. It's important because when they go through the training, it's great to definitely to be able to provide something to individuals for their time, because they're helping to build this training. So if sometimes people if you want to be a silent person, a donation is possible, and you can definitely go to our website to be able to do that. If you want to be an ally, just reaching out to us on our website, www.engagingarkansas.com, and select that you want to connect with us, or you can send an email to myself, which is bobby@engagingarkansas.org. Those are ways that you can definitely get involved with the organization or be a part. And especially if you want to be a part of the training, go onto the website and go to the Peer Leadership Program, visit that page, and just sign up for the training. And then when that next training is available, we'll definitely reach out to you.
That's awesome. Oh yes. So we're definitely promoting in these spaces. So if you want to get involved with EAC, just rewind a little bit. Don't be lazy. Just rewind and get the information about how to find it. Now, Bobby, tell me, what are some of the misconceptions that you've heard about advocacy?
The misconception is that when people think of advocacy, they go back to the group ACT UP. And we know that ACT UP at that time, that's exactly what they needed to do at that time. And so they always think that there's going to be violence associated with advocacy. That's not the case. We're about getting out there and just providing that education, being out there and providing the information, being out there and being able to just give people that voice. That's what we are. So we are grateful for the ACT UP group to get us to where we are in these days and time. But we're not at that point as of right now to be in that using that by any means necessary type of mentality. Is more of, let's go ahead and meet them where they are, but provide them the information that they need.
Is providing information, like you said, is one of the key ways that we can actually move folks to being well informed about HIV. And actually, this month, we would be remiss if we didn't mention that it is National Youth HIV and AIDS Awareness Day on April the 10th. So we definitely share education with the youth, young folks around, to talk about prevention, treatment, and care that affect young people in the United States. So if you want more information about the Awareness Day, definitely check out hiv.gov for that site. They have all types of information there for you. So what's going on in your area, Bobby? You have anything coming up that you want to promote?
Well, we definitely just want to. We will be having another round of our epic leadership training. I don't have the exact date, but definitely we want people to go into the website and definitely sign up, or they can send an email to me, Bobby at engagingarkansas.org, and definitely I can keep the information when that training comes up. We next month in April, we'll be in different areas doing testing. We're always looking for those spaces, those schools, those whatever you want, however that looks for you to be able to do testing. We're open to do that, and so we're hoping to have those type of events coming up in the next few months.
It's amazing. Get involved, folks. Love it. So tell us, what are any last remarks or any parting words of wisdom that you'd like to give the listeners?
Well, Eddie, I just want people to, I mentioned earlier about meeting people where they are, and I think that's a two-way street. I believe that people living with HIV, we want people to meet us where we are, and in turn, we're going to meet you where. And I think in doing that, if we all meet each other where each other are at, we'll get to a place where there is understanding. You don't necessarily have to accept who I am, but you need to respect who I am. And I think that's the ultimate thing that we're trying to do with EAC, is just get to the point where you don't have to accept, you don't have to completely understand, but definitely respect where I'm at. And I think that's just the key that we need to get to.
Ooh, respect. I feel like I want to bust into an Aretha song. That is such an amazing way to end this episode, because that's absolutely what we love about the work that EAC is doing. Even some of the folks that I've interviewed on the show have that common theme of respect for people and respect for themselves, even because that internal stuff is something big as well. So, Bobby, I have absolutely enjoyed this episode. One more time, can you tell the people where they can find you, where they can find Epic Plus, or whatever else you want to get out there?
Okay, you can find Epic Plus on our website, which is www.engagingarkansas.org. You can reach me at Bobby, Bobby, at engagingarkansas.org.
Awesome. And so, folks, thank you again, Bobby.
Thank
Yes, give
you.
it up for
Thank you, Eddie.
yourself.
I appreciate that so much.
Yes, and folks, if you want to be a guest on EAC Speaks, email us at info@engagingarkansas.org. We're more than happy to have you on one of our episodes. If you want to talk about your life, talk about your services, what you provide for folks in Arkansas, we are more than happy to have you. And until next time, I'm your host. Check out our other episodes. Talk to you later. Say ciao, Bobby.
Bye-bye, everybody. Have a good day.
The EAC Speaks podcast is partially supported by the Arkansas Department of Health through a grant funded in part by the CDC. All discussion is solely the responsibility of each participant and doesn't necessarily represent the official views of Engaging Arkansas Communities, the Arkansas Department of Health, CDC, or the U.S. government.